Peter, Mr. Innovator, you've been called. you've been in business for so long,
Yeah.
and things have come. You've always managed to morph out and morph through, and here you are again. This is a brand new style of office business. I mean, I haven't seen a model like this, and I'm wondering where that innovation flair comes from, and how do you keep it going?
God, that's a good question. I think it comes from necessity, basically. They say necessity is a great inventor or something. You know? Yeah, it really, it's really, if you want to continue, if you have a plan, like I do, like I say, I have 5-year plans, you know. If you have a 5-year plan, 6 months is not a big interruption. Do you know what I mean? So if you're 2 years into a plan, you've done all the groundwork and prepared everything, and then you have a hiccup like this, you know, which is probably a 6-month hiccup.
Yeah.
There's still 2.5 years of the plan on the other side of that, you know. So, you know,
it's a great attitude.
There's plenty of time to still, you know, get to where we want to go. And if it was a good plan, which it was, I'm sure of that, you know, then it's not going to be overturned by, you know, short-term changes. Yeah.
So when you made Homebase, which is Homebase for Business, everyone can go Business Base, Homebase for Business. How did you create that? Is this just experience? Did you look at what other industries were doing and said, you know what, we could actually bring that into our industry? Where did you get this innovation?
Okay, it actually came from someone else. The actual, the name and so on. Person who was an external consultant, because you know, we've always been different anyway. So we've always had 4 or 5 major product areas. Run 4 or 5 businesses from one central location, and had competitors in different areas, you know. So we've been, you know, we're not a specialist. We're a specialist for business supplies of all kinds, but we're not specialists in each of those areas, you know. But we do have the knowledge and the, you know, the products and the pricing, you know.
It's like you flip niching on his head.
Yeah, that's it. So had an external consultant come in to give us a bit of advice and so on, and he came up with the idea of, you know, Homebase for Business, because he could see, coming in from the outside, something that we couldn't see. That is that, you know, that's the perfect description for us. That's who we are. We're Homebase for Business. So Homebase being, you know, the experts for everything for the person wanting to build a home, you know, look at, you know, kitchen products, see displays, you know, meet suppliers, you know, come into contact with suppliers and so on, make determinations about what products they're going to put into the home. And we do the same thing for business people, you know, so if they want business machines, office furniture, shelving, racking, shop fittings, you know, so we do the same thing. So that's who we are. We actually are Homebase for Business. Business base, Homebase for Business. Yeah, made a lot of sense, so we ran with it a couple of years
that's
ago.
one thing I want to ask you there. Because lots of people will get an external consultant, they'll give them some strategies and do nothing. You take an external consultant, hear the idea, decide this is good, and actually do something. What do you think it takes to take it from just an idea to actually implementation, which is the key anyway?
Yeah.
What gives you that confidence to do that part?
Yeah. When I say external consultant, we actually employed him internally on a full-time basis, but only for a contractual period, you know. And he was a very experienced executive, business executive. So he brought, you know, that new idea to us. That was the key thing that actually we got from that relationship.
Yeah.
Well, it was just so obvious that it was right, you know. It hit the nail on the head, you know, and we just ran with it immediately, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's now been 2 years. Yeah.
Do you think that comes from a personal confidence you have in yourself? You know when something's right, and then. But do you think doubt stops people? They know something's right, but they have doubt. How do you get past the doubt to have the confidence to do this?
Yeah. I'll just step back a little bit, because McLernan's had been a known name for a long time in Perth and Western Australia, in the kind of products that I'm talking about. People knew what we did and who we were and so on. So So in WA, but what we were looking for was a national expansion at that point. And the home base for business was the perfect, if you think about it, it's a single large display area in each capital city, which is what we want as well, together with, we combine that with online presence, online sales. So in WA, we keep the McLernon name, so it's McLernon's Business Base, or Business Base WA, and we're blending the two and slowly moving WA towards Business Base, which makes it then, when we expand nationally, we'll come back to WA, and WA will become part of the national chain, So the confidence came from, still having the plan, wanting to expand, and knowing that McLernon's is a brand name in WA but not nationally, and thinking, oh, well, how will we rebrand this so people understand what it is before we even get there, right? So we're thinking that people in Sydney know what home base is. A lot of people know what a home base is, have been there, shopped there when they're building their home or doing renovations. So, calling ourselves Business Base, home base for business, should really explain who we are before we even arrive. So all of our marketing nationally and our websites and so on are based around Business Base, home base for business. In WA, we're McLernon's Business Base still, just to keep the old, recognition there.
That's pretty strategic. You've looked at language people are used to hearing and associating with, and blended that to go, hey, you get what it is. This is the business model now. So you've used those languages they're already used to hearing.
Yeah. So hopefully, and I do find that a lot of people do understand, the home base concept. It's an easy step from home base to business bases. Oh, they're they're supplying business. Same as home base supplies for the home market, they supply for the business market. So
I suppose I've got two questions. What's your take on getting outside consultants primarily in, and if someone's looking for expansion, what would you 2 bits of advice around those 2 pieces of questions?
Okay. We do like to do everything internally as much as possible. So, for example, IT, so we employ a full-time internal IT person. It's difficult because you have to get a person who has the wide range of experience and knowledge, is prepared to work in a small organisation. So it's a kind of a tricky thing to get the right person. But if you get the right person, then you've got 100% access, so you're not booking something and waiting for it to happen. We book it and it happens, and it happens to our schedule and our time frame. So we're really very strong when it comes to online presence, online marketing, changes, pricing, images and so on. We can just change things overnight, So that's why we prefer to have internal people as much as possible. Even our accounting and bookkeeping and so on, for the same reasons. Now, I think we've got to be honest, we don't use a lot of external consultants. We try to do everything internally if possible, and have the right people in place to do that. I can see, reasons for using external people. You do have access sometimes to a wider bank of current knowledge because they're in the industry and they're working in different areas and come across the new things, the more up-to-date ideas, more regular.
But your take would be, if you're big enough to have them internal, that's a more preferable way. And if you're a little bit small and can't afford to have them, then maybe that's when you might use an external.
I'd say that when you're in the business they say is it's best to be either very small or very big, and in between is no man's land, right? So you might say we're in some respects in no man's land because if we wanted to be, we could be just WA based and quite a small business, but we have always have ambitions to grow. It's a natural thing in our society to want growth, but to want sensible growth. I don't want to take on debt to do that, so we'll do it without debt. The way we're doing it, we will do it without debt. So we're in a position where we're employing those people that will help us to expand, but we're not there yet. So it can be an expensive thing, right? So you've got to watch your costs there.
Yeah.
But I'd say we're balancing out. We're spending more than we would if we were a small business
Yeah.
to get to a much bigger size.
One thing I pick up from you there is really interesting. It's not so much about I need more money. You went no. You came up with a better strategy.
Yeah, it's difficult to explain what our strategy is at the moment.
Yeah.
But we've got a West Australian business.
Yeah.
And we've got a national business. The national business at the moment sits on the West Australian business. It's the headquarters, you might say, is sitting there ready to service all of the branches nationally. So we've got a higher expense than we would usually have within that part of the business. Our West Australian business is tremendously profitable, as will each of the other ones be, modelled on the West Australian profitability, you know.
Yeah.
But at the moment we're having to carry a head office in order to expand with that already in place, you know. So it's as I said, we're in no man's land currently, but you know, but we're managing that. So we're reducing our profits in order to, you know, temporarily in order to expand. Yeah.
Wow, absolutely fantastic advice. and probably people, that's where they get a little bit nervous because the profits are going to decrease. But you just said if you're looking for the bigger picture and get out of no man's land, there's some of the things you've just got to do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I see us in about 3 years' time. We'll have a product selection centre in every capital city. We'll be very strong online. We'll have partners in each state, and our head office will be supported by 6 state centres rather than one as it is at the moment.